So I have this cup here. Look how stinking cute. One of my good friends got me this. This says, "Wanna play with me?" And it has like the little exorcist head. Look how cute that is. This cup, I love it so much. Look how cute. I love it. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to do something a little bit different, and I'm going to combine my two passions. So we are going to do a get ready with me, and we're going to do our makeup, and I'm also going to talk about some of my favorite found footage horror films. This is a genre that I've watched throughout the years, but it's never been my favorite, and I just kind of pick it up. So I feel like every couple years I'm like, oh, I try to look for like a found footage horror film to watch. So I have 5 on this list, I believe, 4 or 5, and I will let you know what they are in just a minute. But before we get to that, if you would please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. Please hit that notification bell because I post every Friday, and you will be notified when I put that brand new video up. And yeah, so let's get into it. I always spend so much time making videos doing my foundation and everything, so I do it the same way. I do it in almost every single video. So we are going to move on from that step, and I'm going to put on my face, and we'll start from there, and then we'll get into the eyeshadow and all the fun stuff. Okay, great, see you there. Okay, now that we are done with just our foundation and I did a little concealer, let's get into our first movie. Our first movie is As Above, So Below. It was released in 2014, and I actually really like this movie. It's one of those ones I've seen come across Netflix a few times, and I just wasn't in the mood for a found footage like film, and then I watched it and I loved it. It was very well done, and it actually, like, it was really on the border of found footage and like I don't know what it's called, like a regularly filmed movie. And like, I don't know, there was definitely parts where you could see where the camera was kind of moving around, but it wasn't like so much where it would like, because I think the Blair Witch was like very much a found footage. I don't know, it's just like the camera's moving around a lot, and this one, it was a lot more still than most movies I would say that are like found footage in that category. So I think that actually, so if you're not into found footage films, like, you might still like As Above, So Below, and it's just a good movie. But basically it's an archaeologist, and she is looking for a philosopher's stone, and when I read that, it just reminded me of like Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, but it's nothing like Harry Potter. But basically she realizes through just like all of her like research and stuff, because it's been like her life's work, and I think it was her father's life's work as well, that this stone is down in the catacombs down in France. And she ends up talking locals into taking her down there and being like guides, because she obviously does not know the place very well. And once they get down there, it just like turns into this whole horror of a situation. So you definitely have to watch it. I mean, it's like twist after twist, and it's basically like their own personal hell, and I'm pretty sure that is actually in the description of the movie as well. So it's a really good movie. I would definitely recommend, and it is on Netflix, just so you know. My next movie is The Blair Witch Project, and this, I would definitely say that this is a classic. I mean, I don't know if you call it a classic, but I definitely would. I feel like when you think of found footage, you think of the Blair Witch Project, and I even just mentioned it when I was discussing the As Above, So Below movie as something to compare it to, because everyone just knows what that is. Even if you're not a horror fan, you know what that movie is. And that was released in 1999. I actually saw that movie when I was, how was I, like, I don't know, 12, 13 maybe, and I saw it at my uncle's, and he lived out in the middle of nowhere, and it scared the crap out of me because I think I was the only one watching it. Like, it started out with a bunch of us watching it, but then they like got tired or too scared or whatever, so then it was just me watching it. And yeah, that was like the longest walk upstairs to the room ever, I have to say. And it's funny because when I was a kid, scary movies and stuff used to really scare me, but nowadays not so much. I mean, I still get creeped out and like jump and stuff, but I'm not like terrified, you know. When I was a kid, I was like unrealistically scared, because obviously you're a kid and you're unrealistic. But anyway, moving on. The Blair Witch Project, if you have not seen it, it is actually some film students, so I think they're in college, and there is like a Blair Witch murders, which is like this infamous thing. So they want to go out there, they want to find this, they want to document it. They go out to this town and they want to make a documentary about this. So they start interviewing townspeople, and eventually they end up out in the actual woods. And that's where like the Blair Witch is like known to live, I believe. So once they're out there, of course, these kids get lost. By kids, I'm guessing they're probably like 20, 21, 22 years old, like college students, probably 19 to 21. But I digress. They go out there, they get lost, and it just turns into a whole nightmare, as it would for any horror movie. And I actually really like it, though I haven't seen it since I was younger, and I've been meaning to rewatch it. Other things come up and I prefer to watch like new movies, or even, I don't know, just other movies. It's not like my favorite, but it's just like a classic, and I remember how much like it scared me as a kid, and now as an adult I like appreciate that. So I don't know, I definitely check it out. I am not sure where you would find this at. Like I don't know, you might be able to find it on like Amazon Prime. You know, if you have a Fire Stick, you can go over to the search and just search like whatever movie or show you want, and then it will pop up and let you know like it's on Netflix, Hulu, Tubi. I have Tubi, it's free, but there are commercials obviously, or like where it is, so you can play it through there, or even like if it's HBO or whatever, and you can get like the 7 days free. I've done that too, to watch movies, and then I just cancel it. But then if obviously you have another movie you want to watch and it's on there, then now you have to pay for it. So make sure it's a movie you want to watch using your 7 days free, or make sure you go through and see what other movies they have so you can watch movies throughout those 7 days. You know, you gotta work the system. So right now I'm just putting some contour, and I just have my $4 e.l.f. contour. Works just fine. So also the Blair Witch 2, there was a second one and I did not like it. I honestly can't remember everything about it. I don't think I even finished it. It was so stupid. I could not. I think I got like halfway or almost to the end probably, and I was like, what in the heck? And I was even like, I don't know, I think I was 18 when I watched that, or 19, and I just could not. I'm like, this is stupid. And I've watched some dumb movies and actually liked them. So for me to say it was dumb, that's pretty dumb. So let's do this nose. Let's get this nose snatched, honey. I'm gonna just run 2 lines down very lightly, and right underneath the little nose, make a little button nose, honey. By the way, this eyebrow pencil, it has like the, I don't know what kind of stuff this is, but it has this, and then it has this in the end. And you can get this from Self Home Beauty. Use my discount code Chelsie Wrath, all together, all lowercase, 30, and you can get 30% off, just so you know, off anything, not just this, obviously. This is all I've used from there so far, but I really like this. And I plan on getting like a palette and maybe some other stuff. I'm not sure what all they have. I believe they're UK based. I could be wrong, but I know they're not in the United States. I think they're in the UK, but you should check them out regardless. So our next film is Paranormal Activity. I don't know about you. I think it's just, maybe it was my age. I was 12 years old and I saw this in theaters with 3 of my friends and I don't know, someone's parent, whoever would take us. It wasn't my parent. And so my mom did not let us watch horror movies when we were kids. And yes, 12 as a kid. But that's okay. Maybe that's why I like them so much as an adult, because they were so like not allowed when I was a kid, which everything did scare me, so I mean I get it, it's fine. Trust me. Okay, so this movie, and this right here is a prime example because, but I'll get into the whole story. Okay, let's talk about the movie. So Paranormal Activity was released in 2007. Like I said, I was 12 years old, I'm 25 now, and I love this movie. It's just so, it's such like a classic horror situation. New couple, buy a house seems haunted, they set up cameras. What could be the harm? You know, you could just catch what's going on, whether it's an intruder or if it's actual ghosties. Well, they put up the cameras and guess what? They start to actually find that stuff is being moved around the house and things are happening. And not to give away too much, but basically throughout the movie, more stuff happens than just stuff moving around the house, and it affects this couple much more than that. So that is the movie, and there are 6, I believe. I've only seen 1 through 4. As I was Googling this just to, you know, get like the information and stuff, I saw there was a 5 and 6 that I have not seen yet. I'm not gonna lie, they kind of look like, I don't know, they kind of look cheap. I hate to say that, but they kind of look cheap. But I'm gonna check them out and watch them, and I'm gonna make a whole video about all the Paranormal Activity movies and rank them as to which ones I like the most. And who knows, maybe 5 and 6 will be like my favorites, and maybe just I think it's like the artwork on the front, it just looks kind of cheesy, but that doesn't mean the movie's bad, you know what I mean? You can't judge a book by its cover or a movie by its case. So that is good, some good insight there, I have to say. Okay, so here's my little Paranormal Activity story, and it's not necessarily about a ghost, but it's after we get out of this movie. So me and my 2 friends, we were all about 12 years old, and we went and watched this with someone's parent, but we went back to my house, and my house already, like, I mean, it didn't really give me the creeps, but I've just seen some like creepy stuff, and you can call it what you want, but I mean, I have literally thought that I saw someone like running up my steps and literally followed them because I thought it was like my brother or sister. That is for another video. So my house is already creepy, and my friends kind of know that too because they kind of get that vibe too, but we're also 12, so you know, take it with a grain of salt. So we finally get home. We end up going to bed like there soon after because it was late anyway, and it's like one of my friends, she was like really tired, so she slept at the bottom of the bed, like her head is here and then her legs were this way, and then me and another friend were sitting here and our legs were that way. And this girl, so the girl that's sitting down here, she is asleep. I kid you not, I mean, she's asleep for a good hour and a half, and all of a sudden, and if you've ever seen Paranormal Activity, there's a scene where, not to give away too much, but there's a scene where basically one of the characters just sits straight up in bed and is just sitting there for like ever, and then they end up moving, whatever. Well, she literally just sits right up. And so she is here facing us, and we are both like here, like not sleeping, we're just talking, and this girl just, doop, after sleeping for an hour and a half straight. And I'm like, and me and my friend just kind of look at each other. We don't say anything because we're literally terrified. And she sits there for, I mean, not super long, but it felt like forever, but it was probably like a whole minute, or not even a whole minute, like half a minute. And then she just lays back down and she sleeps the rest of the night. Like, doesn't even, like, she doesn't laugh after a few minutes or like, haha, got you guys. Like, she literally just goes back to sleep and just doesn't even wake back up at all. And the next day we said something to her and we're like, you scared the crap of us, da-da-da. Like, thought she was like playing a joke. And she's like, what are you talking about? And like, what do you mean, what are we talking about? And I'm like, well, you're the crazy that just like popped up out of bed. And she didn't even remember it at all. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So I don't know if she was like having a nightmare or something and just like popped up, or if she was playing a joke on us and just was doing a really good job and just literally went back to sleep and acted like nothing happened. I mean, for years to come, like still to this day, she's like, I don't even know, I don't remember that. I'm like, that's so, it literally scared us so bad. And I think me and my friend, like even after she laid back down, we just literally looked at each other and just sat there in the complete silence for probably until we fell asleep. We were so terrified. I was like, oh my gosh, that was too much. So that was my story. But again, we were like 12, and I don't know if she was playing a prank. I don't know. It was so weird. I would never forget that. It scared me so bad. I'm like, you're literally possessed. It was so crazy. Okay, but that's my paranormal, it's my Paranormal Activity story for you. I'm so parched. I need a drink out of my cup, my cute cup. I love this cup. It's so cute. It's like a really big cup too. Like this could hold so much. I poured a whole can in here, and I think I could have got 2 cans in here. Not that I wanted 2 cans, but like you could if you wanted to. And this would be great for like coffee or hot chocolate, but I already had my coffee this morning and I only have it once a day. So if you hear noises in the background, my cat is playing in her little pop-up tent, and she likes to crawl underneath it, and then it's just like sounds like someone's trying to get outside of a tent. I guess it could be creepy, but that's what's happening. Nina, what are you doing? Silly Billy. Since I'm doing this red lipstick, I'm gonna do more of a subtle eye because I don't want like bold, 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 because I'm actually just going out in the town tonight. Like going out in the town, I mean, I'm gonna wear a mask and go to Lowe's and get some paint because I'm painting this background finally. Finally. Praise someone out there who's greater than me. I am so excited. Now let's get into our eyes. as we do this, my final movie is House LLC, which if you've watched any of my recent videos, you have probably heard of this movie. I didn't go into too much detail, I don't believe, but yeah, I'm gonna talk about it right now. So House LLC, this is the first of 3, so it's a trilogy. I like this movie. I would say I like all these movies that are on this list, but I didn't say that previously when I was explaining them. But this movie is, again, it's found footage, and it is a documentary of, yeah, it's a documentary of like a documentary that was made. So it's kind of like Inception here. It's not really that complicated when you're watching it, but just explaining it, because you're watching a whole documentary, but then there are clips from a smaller documentary that's going on. So basically it is I'm gonna start with like the inside documentary. So basically these people who, I think they made a haunted house like in New York City, so I think they went outside of New York City, I don't know exactly where it is, and they bought an abandoned hotel, and it's called the Abaddon Hotel. The owner of the hotel previously, years and years ago, was allegedly a Satanist, and he was trying to open like a portal to hell in that hotel. And I guess him and all of his like followers at the time actually killed themselves in this hotel. So it's always been alleged to be like haunted and all this stuff, and to be like this gate of hell and all these things, but it's just been abandoned. No one wants anything to do with it, and the town is just like a small town, and they just let it sit there because there's nothing they can do with it, yada yada. So these people come in and they buy it. They're making a documentary. They're going to turn it into a whole haunted house, and they're really excited about it. They think they're gonna make all this money from it. So the whole aspect of this movie is these people who were turning this whole place into a haunted house, and basically by the time they actually went through and had the haunted house tour, their very first one, the people went through, and then in the basement something happens. It doesn't tell you what exactly. Something happens, and this is in the very beginning of the actual like found footage film, the actual movie, and it shows like news cruises and ambulance and fire trucks and police cars, and people are screaming and they're running out of there, and 15 people will die in this hotel that night. So then the actual movie is 5 years after this tragedy, and they are making a documentary trying to figure out what happened in that basement and in this hotel. And they are using footage from the people who originally bought and turned this into a haunted house tour, if that makes sense. So it's not that confusing when you're watching it, but explaining it, I was like, wait a minute, because the thing, I'll read it to you. It says, so the thing itself said, like the description, it said 5 years after 15 people were killed during a haunted house tour, a documentary crew visits the scene to investigate what really happened. But the majority of the film is actually the documentary that the people that turned it into a haunted house tour, like what they recorded. I don't know, but that movie is really good. If you like found footage, if you like anything that's just like very, like, it's very Halloween-y, and I love like Halloween vibes and just like spooky stuff, and I don't know, like I think it's really cool, and I love movies. Like I love the movie Halloween because it's always like jack-o'-lanterns and like a killer, and you know, someone's always babysitting someone's kids, and I love that kind of, like I like Terrifier, stuff like that. So that is very much kind of like that. And this movie actually, so that is the first one, and then the second two, it's basically every movie is just like a documentary trying to explain what happened to those people originally and what happened to other people, because when the documentary comes out from the first movie, of course, kids and people and whoever, they want to go to this hotel, they want to spend the night, they want to dare each other to go inside or go to the basement and do all these things because it's haunted and it's spooky. Well, a lot of these people don't return and they don't come back, and then they're reported missing, and this whole, like, this tiny town has like a lot of missing people, and it's like the mayor and certain people just don't seem to care, or they just don't want like the bad publicity. I would say as this movie goes on, I mean, it just keeps getting bigger and bigger, as they always do. And the third one, I still like it, but the third one is a little cheesy. There's some cheesy parts, and it gets a little bit more into like the story of everything, and it's not just like scares. And I guess sometimes I like deep movies and I get really into it, but sometimes I just want like a basic plain scare like jump scare, like spooky scare kind of movie. So the first one is that. The second one is a mix, and then the third one is like there's definitely jump scares and stuff, but it's a lot of like the reasoning behind things and a lot of explaining things. So if you want to like really get to know like what is going on, watch all three. But if you just want something to jump and scare you, first two for sure. The third one is kind of hit and miss for me, but I feel like anytime there's a trilogy, like one of them are not, you know what I mean, one of them are just not gonna like do it for you, and that was kind of the third one for me. But I still watched it because I liked, like I wanted to see more about the Abaddon Hotel and like what happened with everything, because it's so interesting, even though obviously it's not real. Though I keep seeing on the internet that it's based on like a true thing, but then I can't find where this is, so I think people just say that, you know. I feel like everything's like based on a true story, and it's just like they take this most random situation and there's like they apply it and they're like, well, it's kind of like that. I'm like, no, it's not. Like it's not even the same thing at all, but whatever. I'm choosing a little bit of brown, so I use a super light pink at the top, and then I'm choosing a little bit of brown, which I don't necessarily like brown, but it kind of classies it up. Look at that, see, and it kind of defines my eye a little bit more. So if you would leave down in the comments your favorite found footage film. I'm gonna try to go through, I'm gonna Google like found footage films or like the best of, and try to find more that I would want to watch, because I've been really like just in the mood for them. You ever just get in a mood, like sometimes I'm in the mood for like a slasher, or I'm in the mood for like kind of like a psycho like type thing. I don't know, but here lately I've just been in the mood for found footage films. And while you're at it, if you would please like my video, and if you haven't already, please subscribe, hit that notification bell, because I post every Friday. And yeah, and I post videos like this. I usually don't do makeup and horror together, but why not? That's my channel. That's what I'm here for. That's what I'm trying to be. I'm trying to make that my thing, you know? I love makeup and I love horror, so why not put them together? And we are going to put a little bit of this on my lid here, and then we're going to put something sparkly and shiny right there. And then we're going to do some eyeliner and all that jazz. So a little recap of all the movies I brought up today. We had As Above, So Below from 2014, and you can find that on Netflix. The second one is the classic The Blair Witch Project from 1999. Third one is Paranormal Activity from 2007, the first of 6 movies, and I actually saw that there might be one coming out in 2021, so we shall see about that. And then the fourth and last movie is House LLC, which is one of 3, and like I said, I recommend all 3, and that is on Shudder. So we finished the eyes with some eyeliner and mascara, and added some red lips and lip gloss. So this was my first time doing this kind of videos. Next time I will definitely space this stuff out a little bit more, but I hope you enjoyed that video. Please subscribe to my channel. The videos will only keep getting better as I learn. So please like, comment, and let me know what your favorite found footage film is, or your favorite horror movie. Just let me know. I love horror movies. I love to find new movies and series. So hit me up. I will see you guys next week. Thank you so much for watching.